through a car collection real quick. A few of my different liveries and paint schemes that I'm working on. And just to give you a bit of an idea on what vehicles I do have, so you can always request that I use a certain vehicle, or we compete in a certain class of vehicles. There is only about half a dozen that I haven't got and started to toy around with those yet. I haven't got all of them set up perfect or all of the settings for each of them set 100% yet, but we're getting there with the design on a few of them and the settings on a lot of them. This here should be a sort of familiar looking setup to you. You might be able to guess what that project's going to end up looking like, but yeah, I'll keep you updated as I get the graphics and the vinyls completed on that one. Can't go wrong with the old school little rigs. A lot of the time the old school rigs are, not this one in particular, but you have to play with the gear settings a lot to get them to perform right, but you can do it. I'm not a big Ford fan, but that's a weapon of a car. Can't go wrong with the junkyard special. Got a few of them in the fleet, as you'll see. Different junkyard ones. It's another one that's a work in progress on the design. And this is one of the little ones I was talking about. Play around with the gear settings a bit in that one, as well as the just got on blank on it. The Arkman angle. That one there I still need to play around with a bit. I usually bring them almost all the way, if not all the way, back to 0%. It gives you, seems to give you a bit more max steering angle. Although this was quite good the way it was. And then obviously you've got your engine, you always pump the engine tune and the boost all the way up. And your gear ratios, what I usually like to do, this one has been taken back to standard, is I'll find a gear that it sits well in when it's peak gear before it starts to bog down. So say it's third gear, and then we'll bring these ratios back closer to the third gear ratio, spacing them out by about 10 to 15 on each of them, and just play around with it from, see how we go on. Yeah, as you know, but the more you play around with it, the better you'll get your settings anyway. You'll notice that the bonnetless look is a bit of a theme I carry on. Tried to design this here like a car that I actually used to own. I had a nice highly modified Nissan Safari. This is about the closest thing I've been able to find on the game to replicate that car with. Still needs the graphic along the door sills. Everyone's probably got a copy of this car by now. I found with that one, lower the shit out of it. Obviously your camber, and then I done a bit of playing around with the gear ratio again, and I think that's quite a good car, except for I don't like the fact that you cannot change that livery off it. Yes, there is another S15 in the game, but for some reason I can't get the settings to quite match up with the handling between each car. So that's another job. Yeah, here we go. We got, as I said, we've got quite a few to pick from. Some of these vehicles haven't even been driven, been purchased and set up, and as I said, works in progress. did see quite a nice one of these, an example of one of these for an Australian Commodore Ute the other day on this game, and if I met the guy, I'd buy him a beer, I reckon. He had the Bunnings set up along the side of it. For those of you who don't know, who aren't Australian, Bunnings is a big hardware store here, one of the biggest here in Australia, so it was quite a cool little thing to see, I think. You got your WRX cut down. Yeah. Lexus or Toyota Sora, whichever way you want to call it. The old Zeds. You got the rotary there. And the faithful best beginners drift car, the S13. Don't know about calling it a beginner's car on this game, but anyone who was interested in the sport of drifting, that's definitely a good car to start with. Another old faithful there. Bit of a different motif on that one for you. Another old classic there, you can't go wrong. The old Zeds, I suppose. Chaser, that's another one that's a work in progress. You can't go wrong with the Drift Plumbing Australia vehicle. And I think my daughter designed that car for us. Quite a different paint scheme on that one too. Stands out quite nicely. And the old trusty, that's what I used at the start when I started this game, and managed to do quite well with it. This is a good one of my new favourite vehicles. A bit of settings played with on that one, and it handles and goes quite well. Everyone loves an Evo, I suppose. We'll go back to the Evo before I bring the drift fish. But yeah, they've got some interesting body kit designs on this. Alright. But yeah, and this is what I was using in my first video. The 34 Skyline 4-door with the goldfish, koi fish silhouettes. This is a weapon, you'll see this from time to time on the channel. Anyone who plays this game will know that these vehicles are quite interesting to throw around. Actually, while I'm talking about that, the position of the camera view when you're using this vehicle can be a little bit awkward because you do pretty much just see the roof lines, but still not bad. I quite enjoy it. And as you can see there, throw a like whenever you feel like you should do so. I had a 32 two-door there at one stage. It wasn't a bad car. It's another one. It's not a bad one. Still got to finish playing around with that, but it's definitely a good car. There you go. Yeah. A rotary again. Fairlady or 300 ZX, whichever way you want to. This thing's quite unorthodox for a drift car, but works quite well. It's a fun little ute. It's strange for a drift car, but it works if you get the settings done okay. Old school Datsun Skyline. BMW, it's a work in progress. Colour scheme is not going to stay. This was from my last video. This was probably about an hour of mucking around with the different graphics to come up with this. Something a little bit different anyway. Maybe not an hour, probably about 40 minutes. But yeah, as I said, we've got the Holden Commodore police car. Another Beamer. Porsche. Two-door Skyline. RT. And yeah, like I said, just flicking through. And we're almost at the end of the list now, so I'm going to speed up these last couple. Feel free to pause the video and have a better look. So it's pretty much just a bit of a garage tour to show you the vehicles that I do use and a few of the different paint scheme combinations that I've come up with, or we've come up with I should say, and that we're working on at this point in time. That's quite an interesting one. Multiple layers of the same sticker in different colours to give that effect. Slightly different sizings on the stickers. It gives you a different imagery effect, that's for certain, on the vehicle. Best cop car for drifting in the game. JDM Special. Mustang. Another Beamer. Junkyard Lambo. It's work in progress. We all know what that car is meant to be based on. Hide that one away. That's a weapon of a car for everybody who's paying attention. So is that. Two cars you wouldn't necessarily think would be really good, but they are. Cool. That's a weird little thing. Don't suggest on wasting the money in the game to purchase that one, but each to their own. And yeah, you got Bender chasing a gingerbread man. Alright guys, there with that one. Like I said, just a bit of a garage tour at the moment, and then I'm just going to let it sit here and I'll come back and work on a graphic and yeah, and go from there.